Last class, we did the first 4 sections of chapter 4. The next test is going to be on chapters 4, 5, and 9. Okay, 9's a short section. We're not a chapter. We're not covering a lot of that. And as you know, next Tuesday is fall break. We do not meet. But fall break also tells you we're halfway through the semester. Okay. Chapter 4, we got into this thing called looping. And up to this point, we have a while loop and we have a do loop, a do while. This guy runs at least once. This guy is the only one we really need to know how to do because we can use this all the time. One loop and done. But some extras have been created, including the one today, which is going to be called a for loop. And a for loop, if you watch the videos, you have to know the exact number of iterations. And that means if I want that body to be executed 10 times, a for loop is my guy. That's the one I want to use. It's the exact number of iterations. This is the only one we need. This one will end up using 92% of the time because we know what's going on. But there are going to be cases where we'll use these other two as well. With that, we had a loop control variable. That was a big one. We're going to have that for the for loop. We're going to have a starting value or initial value, some sort of check, and then some sort of increment or update. And hopefully, as I'm putting these things, you're going, yep, knew that, yep, knew that, and yep, I knew that. Okay, so just some quick notes. The for loop, I have the initial value, the test, and the update. That was section 4.5. Section 4.6, we were using something where we were getting totals. And inside of here, we were using a counter. And a lot of times it was counter plus plus where we're adding one. And we're using an accumulator to get the totals. And a big example of this is read in 10 test scores and add the scores to get the total. And then when you come out of the loop, get the average, the total divided by how many there were. We had a special case in here, a sentinel value. Please enter your name, the names in the class. Well, if I don't know how many, I'm probably going to use a while loop, but I need to figure out when to get out of that loop. And a good way is please enter -1 to exit the loop. So when that's read in, it's going to get us out of the loop. It's going to be input, but it's going to be a way for us to get out of a loop when we don't know how big the loop is. The do while, you can do a run again, but this is a specific one. It's called a sentinel value. It's an obscure one, something goofy. Nested loops. We had nested if statements, and just like the nested if statements, I can have nested loops, loops inside of a loop. How many times does this loop run? Oh, well, let's see. If I was doing this by hand, I'd say counter gets a value of 1. Counter 2 starts at 0 and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many times was that? This went from 0 to 10.
11.
Yeah, this is 11.
10.
That's 11. So counter was 1. This guy got the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it came out and went back up. This time counter gets the value of 2, and counter 2 is going to do it again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is going to be 11. How many 11s are there? How many times does this outer loop run?
20.
20. Inner loop runs 11 times. That body of that loop, the whatever that is, this body will get executed 220 times. Then we got into files. Great, because in our world, in your world, you're going to be writing programs dealing with big data, lots and lots and lots of data. And where's that data going to be? Well, somebody's going to be typing it in somewhere else at $17 an hour. Meanwhile, you are then going to have the code to open it up, open that file where all the data is stored. You're either going to read it in, possibly write it, do something with that file, and then you're going to close the file. These are the three big ones. Part of this open the file is linking. What's it called? Stored with an extension dot something. And what am I going to call it in the program? This was great with the files. It'll keep reading until this becomes false, meaning it's found the end of file marker. The last video, generating random numbers. You're going to be doing a program. There's 3 of them for chapter 4, not just 1 or 2. There's 3 of them. So that's why we have some crazy due dates. But if you look at this guy here, and I said, I would like the random numbers from 10 to 20. What goes in this first box? What am I adding? Well, in this first box, it's going to be how many numbers there are. How many numbers are there from 10 to 20?
10, 10,
Use your fingers.
10, 10.
11.
11. This is 11
Oh,
numbers.
really? Uh,
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. You're used to it being 11 to 20, but no, this is 10 to 20. It's 11 numbers. So this is going to be an 11 in here. Now, the random generator number, when that's 11, is actually going to give me the numbers from 0 to 10. But now I add a displacer. I need to move this list. And instead of 11 to 10, I'm going to now add, what's my first number? 10. And that's going to give me the numbers from 10 to 20. You have a program coming up where you have to get the numbers from 1 to 1,024. And you're going to need to use this. How many numbers? And then this guy right here, which is actually like a displacer, moves them all over 10. Hopefully you watch the videos and you're going, yeah, I kind of know for loop, got the idea of totals, the nested loop, intro to files, and random numbers. Questions? Yeah, Ian.
I actually do have a question about file writing specifically.
Okay.
So I noticed that in our 2 code listings and the examples that were provided, there is only an example of writing to a file and then reading from a file in 2 separate programs. But they use 2 different objects to do so. And one of them overwrites the file when you write to it. And so how would I open up a file, read from it, then amend to it in the same program?
We're not there yet. So there's a bunch of different answers. You were trying to throw arrays at your group last time. You would have to store everything into an array, then write it back. I'm not sure if Java has it or C++. One of them has append, which when you open it, you can open
Right.
it so that it knows it appends. We're going to do, when you get to 230 and you're working with Java, you're going to do other types of files that are going to be more conducive to that. You'll be able to do something called a read write file.
Okay. All right.
And
Thank
then
you.
you can jump around using seek and so forth. But this was from the code listings. As you can see, I'm going to call it output file, excuse me. But in the real, and where I'm saving it on my hard drive or something, it's called data.txt. So whenever I use output file in the program, it's referring to data.txt. So yes, I need one file to write and one file to read. And hopefully you were following along with that if you watch the videos. Okay, here we go. We have two programs to work on today. First one is find the average number from a file of numbers. Find the average number from a file of numbers. Well, first of all, you know that we are only working with text files for data. That means you can go open Notepad. You can put in the numbers 10, return, 20, return, 30, return, 40, return, 50, return, and give it a name. Save it as data.txt. Once that's done, after you've created your data file, you're going to write a program that's going to read in each number. And I'd be using that has next so that it keeps reading it in. So you're going to write the program that's going to read in those numbers from the data file. And I already know what the average is going to be. Do you? Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. You're going to write the program, and we already know the average should be 30. Okay. So you got a little bit of an idea what's going on here. You're going to create the data file and save it. Going to write the program. You are going to read in a number at a time. You're going to have a counter so that every time I read number in, I add one to a counter. And you're going to have an accumulator, things that we've talked about. Okay. Second program, you are going to roll a dice 6,000 times. That means you're going to have a for loop that's going to run 6,000 times. You're going to track the number of ones, twos, threes, fours, fives, and sixes. And when this simulation is done, you're going to display number of ones, number of twos, etc. How many ones should there be? Approximately.
1,000.
Yeah, it's going to be approximately, these are all going to be approximately 1,000 in your totals. So you're going to need an if statement and you're going to have to get the random number. And then you're going to have an if or a case. Case would be better to practice. And if that random number is a one, you add one to a variable called one count. Else, if it's a two, you add one to a variable called two count, three count, four count, blah. Last class in 161, they were all stumped. Then I went to the textbook. I said, go to page 1248, look at the code listing here, look at line 11. Do you know what you're doing wrong? And every one of them was like, yeah, yeah. Everything you need is in the book.